Hey guys, no, your eyes aren't deceiving you. This is indeed the 9th installment, a little over a year after the 8th installment of the series, How It Should Have Went. Now, to catch you up on what the series is about, basically I come on here and I talk about certain episodes in a series, if not the series itself, and how I feel it could have gone if done differently, or if certain things were added in to make it more interesting, funny, etc. And the first one I did was based on basically me talking about the episode Does Poverty Ring a Bell from Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, and basically when Dale decided he wanted to propose going on a picnic with Gadget. That's the first one I did. So basically check it out. I do have a playlist that I'll provide the link to in the description of this video. But what am I going to talk about for the 9th installment? Well, I think the title kind of gives you the idea of what it's going to be, but you might ask yourself, why did I pick this? Well, it's time to find out. Now, the reason I picked the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 3 episode Spike at Your Service is it's something I've been thinking about when it comes to doing an episode on this series. You know, basically how I feel it could have gone. Because the synopsis of the story is Applejack saves Spike from a bunch of Timberwolves, and Spike feels so indebted to Applejack that he has to basically repay her back, or he feels and believes he has to repay her back by saving her life. And it's because he wants to honor his dragon code, which I don't know if he just made up on the spot in that episode, or he's always believed in, or whatever. But he basically wants to repay her back. Even to the point that he temporarily, that being Spike, moves out of the Golden Oaks library, that he and Twilight lived in, to go be with Applejack to repay the debt. Now, throughout the episode, basically the main six try to help Applejack to get Spike to repay the debt so he can basically move on and basically get on with his life and, go back with Twilight and stuff like that. It isn't until Applejack really is seriously in trouble that Spike does end up repaying his debt. At first, he doesn't believe, that she's really in trouble because, like I said, the main six try to help Applejack get Spike to repay his debt as much as they can, and he doesn't believe a lot of the shenanigans they're pulling. So when it comes to the real situation, Spike at first is like, nah, I don't believe you, but she does prove, look, I am stuck. And this is really happening. And Spike inadvertently or basically purposely does, save her life. And basically they agree at the end, hey, let's just be friends. Let's just be best buds. Bro hoof on it, whatever. Or sister hoof, whatever you want to call on it. And go from there. And that's what they do. Now, this episode did inspire Disney Fanatic 2435 or 2465. I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, but Disney Fanatic to include a certain romantic ship in their very popular, very critically praised webcomic, fan fiction stories, Bride of Discord and Daughter of Discord. And that romantic ship was basically Applejack and Spike. And basically the reason she decided to go that route is because of this episode. And basically what Disney Fanatic wanted to do was play off the what if scenario. Now, as I've mentioned before, when it comes to talking about Bride and Daughter of Discord, both stories, later on after season 4 premiered and even after season 5 premiered, basically she had to put a disclaimer saying that a lot of these events take place in a very identical, almost 90% identical alternate universe with a 10% difference. So, and that 10% difference being something along the lines of, like, let's say Applejack and Spike being together. Anyway, what does this have to do with this edition of How It Should Have Went? Well, I'll tell you what it has to do. You see, I mentioned that the main six try to help Applejack get Spike to repay his debt. but he doesn't fall for a lot of what's going on. So I think this is how it should have gone. Now, if you want to go and keep the Timberwolf thing in there, where basically both save each other from the Timberwolves at the beginning and the end of the episode, that's fine. You want to keep that in there. But I think basically, if you really wanted to make it a little bit more funny and basically kind of get Spike on his own to say, okay, look, I'm going to back up. I'm going to take back my debt. I'm not going to repay you. I'm just going to be thankful you saved my life. Then I think what they should have done is this. You see, doing one of the plans that they have hatched to try to get Spike to repay his debt, you have Rarity basically pretending and acting and begging on Spike to save Applejack, right? Well, we know by now that Spike has a crush on Rarity. Rarity is aware of this. So my thought is this. This is how I feel it could have gone. My honest opinion is this. I think you could have took out the Timberwolves deal, and you could have gone the classic route of Spike being the one that kind of decides, hey, you know what, it's cool. I don't need to repay the debt, and everything. I'm just thankful you saved my life, and we can continue to be friends. Now you might ask, well, how would that work? Well, it's real simple. Have them go down the route. Well, Applejack, at the suggestion of Rarity and maybe Twilight and even Rainbow Dash, because this would be something up Rainbow Dash's alley, have Applejack pretend to fall in love with Spike. Basically give Spike a dose of his own medicine, if you will. Now, you might be wondering, well, what do you mean by that? Well, there's a lot of classic shows, live action and mostly animated, where one character has to be basically given a dose of their own medicine to get them to back off or realize, hey, this is not really what I want. And I just want to be friends, and that's it. Many shows, like I said, live action and animated, have done this throughout generations. So why not apply that to Friendship is Magic in an episode like this? As I mentioned, you could take the Timberwolf thing out and instead have Spike be the one that kind of relents on trying to repay his debt to Applejack, because what you could do is you could have Applejack start to, stalk Spike or be around Spike 24/7, just like he's trying to be around her. But instead of, her trying to, Spike trying to repay his debt for Applejack saving him, you could have, like I said, the main six, like, Rarity Rarity being the one that comes up with the idea, the others getting behind it, especially, Rainbow Dash coming up with some unique ideas to, really make it fun. Have Applejack pretend to fall for Spike and basically start being around Spike 24/7 and start acting all flirtatious with him and all, gooey wooey kind of deal, if you know what I mean. Have her do that. Have her basically be so flirtatious and lovey-dovey around him to the point that basically Spike is the one that finally realizes, okay, what, maybe, I don't need to repay the debt. Maybe we could just be friends and all that. And then that's when maybe you could have Applejack kind of, when the timing's right, kind of break the acting, kind of stop the acting and be like, well, that's all I want. Well, that's what I've been wanting. Well, basically you could have Applejack be, what I'm trying to get at is you could have Applejack basically be like, well, you could have Applejack as soon as like Spike's like, realizing, I don't have to repay the debt, it's cool, I don't need to repay it. I'm just happy you were there to save my life, and we could just remain being best friends and all that. And then you can have Applejack, when the timing's right, as I was trying to say, basically stop pretending, go back to her normal self and be like, well, that's what I've been hoping you were saying, or you were going to say. And then that's when you could have it dawn on Spike, like, wait a minute, so you were just doing this to teach me a lesson? And then there you go, a lesson would be learned. You could have Applejack say, look, I appreciate you wanting to, pay me back for helping you, but that's what friends are for. I helped you and saved you because that's what friends do. You don't have to repay me for doing something that friends will do no matter what. And that could be the lesson. That could be the lesson. And like I said, we have seen this done many, many times. So why not apply it to something like Spike at Your Service, where basically the main idea or the main goal is for Spike to repay his debt, but Applejack and the others trying to get him to realize, hey, you don't have to do that. Why not basically have, the tables turned on him and have it in a way where Applejack pretends, hey, she's falling for Spike and she loves being around Spike, oh, lovey-dovey, kissy-kissy, whatever you want to call it. And you just build to the moment where Spike finally realizes, hey, I don't need to do that. I'm just cool he was there to save me because that's what friends are for. And then again, and like I said, you can have Applejack as soon as Spike says, gets that moment and acknowledges that, you can have Applejack get at, basically break out of the acting and say, hey, and basically say, hey, that's what I've been hoping you would say. Well, that's what I was hoping you'd say. And again, you could have Spike realize, oh, wait a minute, you mean you were pretending? And that's when the lesson would start to hit him, like, oh, and everything. And again, you could have Applejack explain to him, look, you don't have to pay me back for saving you because that's what friends do. You're my friend. You're one of my best friends, so you don't have to repay me for saving your life because I would have done it anyway, no matter what. So, to me, I think that's how it should have went. Now, if you wanted to include the Timberwolves deal in there where she's getting to a point where Spike's getting backing off and everything, and all of a sudden they bump into a real life Timberwolf and Spike's the one that ends up saving them by maybe breathing fire on the Timberwolf's leg to get away, and then maybe you have Applejack kind of admit, the fault of what she was doing, and both kind of admit, kind of agree that, maybe, you kind of get what you got at the end of the original episode. You kind of get what you got at the end of the original story, where both kind of are like, look, we're best friends. That's all that matters. We're always going to be there for each other, but let's not, get too carried away with it, kind of deal. So, I think honestly, if you want, like I said, you wanted to keep the Timberwolves thing in there, that's one way of doing it. But I think honestly, you could have took out the Timberwolves deal and said, you know what, let's just go that classic route where the tables are turned on Spike, and Spike's the one that learns the lesson and realizes, hey, you don't always have to pay somebody back because they did something out of the kindness of the heart. So yeah, I think that's how it should have went, that being the episode Spike at Your Service for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I know I sounded like I rambled a bit. I do apologize. I'm doing this during my lunch. But anyway, let me know what you guys all think. Do you think I have a point of how it could have gone? And do you think even if they would have gone this route, do you think they could have kept in the Timberwolves climax at the end, just like they did in the original story? Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I am out. I got to get me something to eat before I clock in.